If you're looking for the best beginner build in Throne of Liberty that combines insane damage with survival, including both mobility and self-healing, then this is the build for you. Hey everybody, welcome back. HTM here with my favorite Throne and Liberty build for beginners called the Ranger. This is a longbow / greatsword combo build that's truly one of the best, most flexible setups in the game right now. Perfect for questing, open world content, completing dungeons, farming, group dungeons, even the solo tower. This build really can do a lot. Plus, it's very easy to set up. You can get all of the gear from the main story or similar exploration codexes, and it's just a lot of fun to play. So I think you're going to enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. All right, here we are on the Ranger build. Let's go ahead and talk about stat points first. I'd recommend that you start with dexterity on this build, pump this up to 30. First, this is going to do things like increase your critical hit chance, your max damage, as well as evasion. And critical hit chance is really important on the bow. Some of our skills actually have unique effects based on critical hits. So yeah, I would definitely start there. And then secondly, as a beginner, you really want to pump up your strength. This is going to be great not only for, questing and world content, world dungeons, playing solo, but also just surviving, when you have to learn different mechanics in this game, even in group dungeons. Strength is the only stat that's actually going to buff your survival bonuses, things like your max health, your health regen, but it also increases your damage at the same time. So it's a great overall stat. I definitely recommend you put 30 points there as well. You see, I actually have higher wisdom, but I do recommend perception, just putting like 9 points into perception once you've finished out dexterity. And strength is going to help a little bit with stuff like rooting enemies in place, CC effects, different debuff options that we can get on this build. It also increases your maximum and minimum damage, so it's a good stat to put your remaining 9 points into. And the fact that I have 21 wisdom, this just actually comes from our longbow, so I'll show you the stats on that in a minute. Wisdom's not a bad stat either. Honestly, this is going to help a lot with our mana pool, our mana regen, as well as reducing our cooldowns and increasing our max damage as well. So again, start with this dexterity, max out your strength. I would go then into perception with the rest of your points, and then whatever else you pick up from gear, that's totally fine. But speaking of gear, you can play this a couple different ways. The way I've been doing this is maining the longbow. And I do like that on this build because it gives us a nice ranged option for those basic attacks. It means you're going to do a little bit more damage up front because you're just, before you get into melee range, you're already dealing damage. So yeah, I am using the longbow as the main weapon, and then the greatsword is sort of the offhand or the alternate port weapon in this case for this build. So we've got Longbow of the World Tree, and this is really great. I was able to pick this up at level 50. Now, before you get to level 50, you can do, the crafted green quality bows. You can craft a bunch of those different ones, put them into your lithograph, and then upgrade to a blue quality bow. You could also get blue quality weapons from the main story quest, so that's completely fine. Once you get to level 50, though, you do get some more opportunities for purple quality epic weapons. And if you're interested in this Longbow of the World Tree, it is cool because it gives us that extra wisdom stat, like I said. So I have this upgraded to 11 wisdom, which is a lot of bonus stats. Very helpful. That's actually going to come from the world dungeon called Shadowed Crypt, and you can get this randomly from contracts. What that looks like is you can come over to a sundries merchant, you can check out their inventory, and they once you hit level 50, you can pick up these Resistance Forces contract scrolls. You use that item, it'll give you a bunch of these contracts, which look like this. These other 3 types are not usable yet, but the 4th type that is usable is the Shadowed Crypt contracts. These are super easy to use right now, guys. You'll find the majority of players who, once they finish the main story quest, are just here in this world dungeon farming some purple gear. So I definitely recommend you check that out. I already got 2 of those longbows. Actually, I don't know if I was lucky or what, but I do have 2 of them. So yeah, pick that up when you get a chance. Upgrade that as your main weapon. Secondary weapon, like we said, is going to be the Greatsword. This is just a broadsword of the Resistance. Now, I believe I picked this up from lithographs. If you don't know how lithograph works, basically with the book here, it's a really easy way to get some blue weapons and blue armor pieces. All you do is collect 4 of the green quality version of something. So in this case, I crafted, 4 green quality greatswords, stick them into the lithograph book, and it gave me the blue Broadsword of the Resistance, and then I just upgraded that fully. So that's a really easy way to gear up. You can do that pretty early in the game as well. You do not have to be level 50. So that covers the weapons. In terms of the armor, I do have the Armor of the Resistance. This comes from the main story quest as well, so it's very easy to just get these different pieces. They give you a lot of good survival stats, things like health recovery, melee evasion, max health, ranged endurance, and like I said, all 5 of these pieces, including the purple quality chest piece, you get these as drops from completing the main story quest as you go along. So that's a really good way to fill out your inventory. Now, another way you can fill things out in terms of your accessories is this 3-piece accessory set called Rutane's Mysterious Set. This also, I believe it comes a mixture from main story and then the Adventure Codex. Now, if you don't know what the Adventure Codex is, just go to Codex in your menu. So Adventure Codex is the main story. And then, sorry, I misspoke. You can get a couple from the Exploration Codex, specifically from Silas's Abyss, right there. So Silas's Abyss is one of the earliest world dungeons. You can start going here around level 20 or so. And then basically you do all of these little mini quests inside the world dungeon. You can do this solo, you can do this grouping up with people if you would like, but it's really easy stuff. It's just like killing specific enemies, investigating little items around in the dungeon, and then you can get those accessory pieces. And like I said, 3 of them actually gives you a cool set effect bonus. 3 pieces there. When attacking enemies with less than 50% health, your critical damage gets increased by about 140. So that's how I was able to fill out some of these under inventory slots for accessories. I've got the bracelet, got the necklace, and I've got the ring, all blue quality, so that's really nice. Geez, I need to level that one up, actually. And this one, what am I doing? Okay, yeah, let me, after this video, I'm going to level those up. Also, Ring of Robustness, I believe I got this from the main story at some point. And then Belt of Vigor, that's just like an enemy drop. So you can see I have a mixture of green, blue quality, a couple of purples. That's generally how you will get at the point that you finish the main story. It's more than enough to work well on this particular build. All right, so let's jump into skills next, starting with our defensive skill. Went with the Longbow defensive skill for this particular build, just because this build really does do well kind of in medium to long range combat with more of an evasive and movement-based playstyle, and I just felt like this defensive skill from the Longbow kind of fit that a little bit better. So when you dodge using this, you'll basically get different sort of damage-focused buffs. You can see here, Agile Shot deals bonus damage. With the Perfect Dodge option, you get Swift Evasion. This dodges in whatever direction that you want and also increases your ranged evasion further by 550 for 2 seconds. So it's a pretty good defensive skill overall. So let's talk about our primary offensive skill bar, which is going to be the Longbow. Ensnaring Arrow is a root in place type ability. So it's going to bind the target for 3 seconds, and this is going to help combo with some of our other skills and abilities. Next up, we have Zephyr's Knock. This is just another basic damage skill. Very quick cooldown, about 6 seconds, low cost. It's also one of those skills with the Longbow that increases in damage the further you are from a target. So you want to use this early, from a distance. We've got Strafing. This is a really good mobility and damage skill combined. You can basically use this to kite a target because you can attack while moving, and then you can spam this with some of our specialization options. You'll get like 3 or 4 attacks in a row, and these can crit for a lot of damage. Our big burst damage skill on this build is called Decisive Sniping. You can see there on the tooltip almost 1000% of base damage plus 382. Not even fully upgraded. I'm only through about blue upgrades on this one. It increases your critical chance as well by a lot. So this is going to be like your bread and butter DPS skill. You're going to want to use this whenever it's off cooldown. Using the controller, I have these 4 abilities on my right bumper. This is just kind of my offensive toolkit for the Longbow. And then in combination with that, I also have a debuff skill that you'll want to keep in mind, Deadly Marker. So this marks a target for 9 seconds. And it increases your critical hit chance against that target for you and group. So this does have some group utility as well. Now, we're not done with the bow, though. That's just kind of our offensive toolkit. We also have 2 pretty nice heals. The best one is definitely Nature's Blessing. This one I still need to upgrade a bit, but it basically increases your health recovery and your mana recovery significantly. So this is great for healing and for sustain. And then we also have Healing Touch. This is just kind of like a heal over time, little mini heals. But the good thing about this is it does have a very short cooldown, less than 6 seconds, so you can use it really frequently to top off your health. But let's talk about the Greatsword Skills next. This is going to be very similar, beginner-friendly loadout to the Paladin build. If you saw that one, which I published earlier, this is just a really solid combination of skills on the Greatsword. And I kept in mind that I am trying to focus this on the beginner build. There's stronger skills even that you can use on the Greatsword once you hit level 50, which we'll talk about, but you can start using this loadout pretty much right away in this game. So first skill, Precision Dash. This is our gap closer. You can use it up to 2 times. It's really great for closing the distance, and it's why I like this build so much, because you can start with your longbow from a distance, and then you can gap close in with Precision Dash, use those Greatsword skills to finish off a target, and it's very fluid, lots of mobility. Along with that, we have Valiant Brawl. I've morphed this or upgraded it to Cruel Smite. We'll talk about the specialization options very soon, but this thing does a ton of damage. It does bonus damage once you have a critical hit, bonus damage to any target within 3-meter radius. So yeah, surprisingly powerful once you start upgrading this. And the cooldown's pretty good, low cost as well. We're going to combine that with Stunning Blow. You guys probably know this combo already if you've played Greatsword at all. Stunning Blow stuns a target, doesn't do a lot of damage, but that stun enables you to combo it with the Death Blow ability for huge bonus damage based on some of our specialization choices, which I'll go over in a minute. But that's kind of the offensive toolkit for the Greatsword. So again, I have that on my right trigger. So those skills are kind of grouped together offensively. So we've got both offensive skills, we've got Greatsword offensive skills, and then just our one sort of heal and utility skill for Greatsword, which is awesome. Da Vinci's Courage increases your max health, health recovery, and your attack speed for you and your party members for 12 seconds. So it's a great solo and group buff. All right, in terms of passive next, I picked 4 from the Longbow, 4 from the Greatsword. So that's kind of how I have this organized. Starting with Steady Aim, this is going to increase our ranged critical hit chances when attacking bound targets. So this is going to be helpful when combining with the Ensnaring Arrow ability. That's basically why I picked this one up. We also have Sniper's Sense. So each 1 meter of distance from the target increases your critical hit chance again and critical damage. Devoted Shield, just kind of a random one that I am experimenting with. If you get the Weakened debuff, you're going to get a huge damage shield. Haven't seen this too much in PvE content, but it should be really helpful in PvP. And then Earth's Blessing, this just increases health regeneration and health recovery effects from your skills by a lot, over 20% when you start upgrading that. And then for the Greatsword skills, we've got Robust Constitution, just a good extra bit of max health and recovery. This is going to be great for playing solo, especially Vital Force. Does increase your range hit chance, skill damage, and stun chance per 100 max health. So obviously the more health bonuses you have, like the more strength you have, the better this is going to scale. Then we have Victor's Morale. This gives us a little bit of extra health and especially passive mana regeneration, so I find this is helpful. And then finally, Indomitable Armor does increase our defenses when we take damage. Now, the goal of this build is to kite and to avoid taking damage, do quick strikes, but when we do start taking damage, this can be helpful for survival. So that's the loadout in terms of skills, passives. If you have any questions on this, remember I will have a written guide down below in the description and the pinned comment. You can check that out. I'll have everything laid out and organized for you there. Before we get to specialization though, let's talk about the weapon mastery system. Obviously, weapon mastery takes probably the longest of anything to level up in Throne and Liberty, but I have made my choices already. Pretty much for longbow, I'm going with sniping. And this is really like the more damaged focused tree, I guess. For longbow mastery, you get more damage. You'll get skill boosted damage and then critical damage. So pretty much all 3 major bonuses are going to increase your damage. The other options are more like utility and mobility focused. So I went with sniping. I think that's best for this particular build. And then Greatsword, I've gone with the Incapacitate route. This is going to be just more focused on stunning. That's going to help with our survivability and, of course, our damage paired with that Stunning Blow to Deadly Blow combo. Or you can upgrade that combo, to level 50. Once you get Guillotine Blade, you can use this in place of Death Blow. It's even more powerful, a lot more damage. All right, skill specialization is next. Let's start with longbow and decisive sniping. This is definitely like the key piece or the most important skill, for the longbow in terms of dealing damage. And so we actually have the most upgrades here. So charging time makes a big difference. This increases the max charge for decisive sniping and then increases the damage proportionally. So basically a 33% bonus if you charge it all the way up. And that does make a big difference. Now, I also recommend damage increase to buff this based on your status effects. So we can bind a target with ensnaring arrow. We can stun a target with stunning blow. And so both of those are going to increase the damage of sniping. Now, probably the biggest one that I recommend, though, is mobility, because sniping is a channel, and it is a long channel once you upgrade it with the charging time specialization. I do like the mobility here. This just means that you can move while channeling the skill, and it just feels much better. Like, it doesn't feel really good to be locked down into a static position while charging that skill, in my opinion. It's just how I prefer to play. I really like the mobility on this setup, on the Ranger build, so this really makes it work. But what else do we have? Ensnaring arrow, we've increased the hit chance for this. So you could also increase the bind duration if you want. For strafing, this is a really good one. Consecutive use gives you an extra use of the skill. So I think it's about 4 times you can use it in a row if you have the consecutive use passive unlocked. So definitely pick that up. Nature's Blessing is going to increase our healing quite a bit with vitality. And then Whirlpool is pretty interesting. It increases your movement speed by 20% in an area whenever we use this skill. So Nature's Blessing, not only is it a quick recovery heal, it's also kind of like a get out of trouble skill because it's going to increase your movement speed by 20%. It's pretty cool. A couple of upgrades on Healing Touch. We increased the duration as well as added some additional health recovery. Deadly Marker is going to be even better for, group content where party members who attack targets with the Deadly Marker gain an additional hit chance. Yeah, that is it for the Longbow specialization. Let's go ahead and jump to Greatsword next. So Cruel Smite is interesting because it does reduce the cooldown of this ability and lets you hit bonus enemies within a small radius, so that's kind of nice. We've got a lot of updates to Stunning Blow, so we've reduced the cooldown. We've increased the damage of the next skill. That's very important when you combine this either with Death Blow or Guillotine Blade if you're level 50. We've increased the hit chance percentage, and then we also increased the stun duration by 1 second. So those are all really good upgrades. I do recommend those. For Death Blow, if you're not level 50 yet, charge time is huge. You can see this increases damage by 100%. Not like 30% like you can get on Snipe. You can get double the damage on this skill. So this should be one of the first, probably the first skill specialization option you should unlock. I also recommend reducing the cooldown. And then Da Vinci's Courage, we just increased the duration by 3 seconds. There's some other cool stuff you can do here, like, damage reduction, or you can switch it over to instant healing, which is kind of interesting. Since we don't have any other instant healing, you might consider doing that. So Nature's Blessing is like your recovery skill, and then this could be your instant healing skill. But that's it in terms of skill specials. Again, check the written guide. I'll have everything listed out there in order. So if you need to look back, check it as you're crafting this build for yourself. Definitely go to the link below. All right, so let's showcase the basic rotation here. We're going to start by debuffing the enemy using Deadly Mark. Follow that right up with Ensnaring Arrow to root them in place. Follow that up with our Snipe ability as well as Knock for that bonus damage. And then you can basically kite away by spamming the Strafing skill. You should be able to get like 3 or 4 hits of that in. From here, we can go to Precision Dash on the Greatsword to close the gap if there is one. Valiant Brawl for some DPS. Stunning Blow into Deadly Blow for that bonus stun damage. Now at this point, I'm going to reset, kite a little bit. I can use my heals like Da Vinci's Courage, reset my bow abilities, Ensnare into Deadly Snipe, Knock and Strafing again. And then same thing here, Valiant Brawl, you can use Precision Dash, Stunning Blow into Deadly Blow, use your other heal here if you need it, Nature's Blessing, and then finish off with more bow damage if necessary. You can see the rotation's really good for kiting away from enemies, but also dealing damage and stunning them when they do close in and get in melee range on you. One more example here, we'll go ahead and buff again with Deadly Mark. Followed up with Ensnaring Arrow right into Snipe, and then remember you can move with the correct upgrades for Snipe, letting you get some more distance. Follow that up with Knock and Strafing as you continue to kite. Then Precision Dash into Valiant Brawl, into our Stunning Blow, that one missed. into Deadly Blow for the final hit. And then we're just kiting again. Hit them with Ensnaring Arrow again. More with Knock, Snipe, and Strafing. You can reset Deadly Mark here if you want. It is ready. Or you can just go straight into melee. And then make sure again to at least use one of your heals. Either Da Vinci's Courage or Nature's Blessing would be the best first heal to start with. Hope you guys enjoyed this and you found it helpful and informative. Of course, if you did, do me a favor and crush that like button. It absolutely helps out the channel and lets YouTube know to share this video with others. Like I said during the video, there is a written guide in the description and the pinned comment. If you want to just follow along and make this for yourself, it's going to go over all the skills, the passives, specialization options, and a lot more. So I definitely recommend you check that out. And let me know in the comments as well what type of build you'd like to see next for Throne and Liberty. Probably will do at least 1 or 2 more if there's any suggestions. Again, let me know. As always, I hope you're doing well. Stay safe out there, and I will see you around in the next video.